Hello everyone, I'm Chester44 and welcome to this Let's Play of Blades of Avernum. Last episode was a very short one as we did a scenario which was basically just a small story. I think it may have been a story of one of the victims who was up in the northwest section of, was it Valorum? Whatever was the area that was ravaged by monsters in Avernum 3. It was very short, but it tried to get the emotions in. I could see how they tried to do that. Either way, now it's time to move on to the next scenario by this person, Nikki. Twilight Valley. In my own strange way, I've always been true to you. In my own sick way, I'll always stay true to you. A nearby clock struck the 3rd hour of the morning. It would still be a while until dawn, and he moved away from the window he was peering out and back towards his easel. The valley outside was in full bloom, as it was for most of the year, and the fragrant scent of lilacs drifted around the room. Picking up his brush, he made another stroke and quickly followed it with 2 more. Then, stepping back, he lowered his hand and let the brush clatter to the floor, almost in slow motion. He tilted his head to one side, and the tears that had been collecting in his eyes as he painted finally began to fall. After a while, he realized his face was stinging, and roughly wiping his eyes, he trailed blood across his cheek from where the water had burnt his skin. Suddenly, something in him broke, and he couldn't bear to look at it anymore. He lifted it up and tossed it into the fire, where the flames quickly devoured the dazzling sunrise he had created. He strode across the room and into his bedchambers, making sure that the blinds and curtains were drawn to keep the light out. From this point on, he muttered angrily, I'm never painting again. Present day. Sighing, you trudge onwards through the marsh. The sun beats down from above. It's a perfect summer's day, and here you are in some stinking fen heading for your next mission. You go over the details in your head for the umpteenth time. You are to go to Twilight Valley and speak to Mayor Stone of Greenleaf about his missing daughter. You imagine you'll have to find her, too. You look up again and try to gauge how far you are from the mountains which the valley lies within. You should reach it first thing tomorrow morning, God willing. This place is starting to depress you. Evening draws in, and you leave the swampy mess of the fens behind. Climbing a gentle hill, you catch a quick glimpse of the valley for the first time. Looks far better than the terrain behind you, but that's not a difficult thing. You set up camp and prepare to enter the valley first thing tomorrow, after getting some much-deserved sleep. Morning arrives, and after hitching your packs onto your backs, you descend into the valley proper. The scenario includes a special ability that allows you to set the speed of all cutscenes within the scenario. Set cutscene speed. Okay. You enter Twilight Valley for the first time and are immediately stunned by your surroundings. The place is beautiful. The sky above is clear and the sun is shining fiercely. Tall birches are clumped together along the edges of the valley walls, and about your feet a multitude of flowers push up from the ground. There are also some taller flowers, lilacs from the looks of them, which sweetly fragrance the air. It's impossible not to be in good spirits right now. Your surroundings make sure of that. This place is a far cry from the swamps you passed through to get here. Alright. If you continue going in this direction, you'll soon leave the valley behind. No, staying in Twilight Valley. You turn around. You have things to do before leaving. That we do. Hold on, which is... normally, hopefully normally won't be too fast. Alright. Now that you're in the valley proper, you appreciate the beauty of the place even more. Everything looks stunning. From this vantage point, you can see rolling green hills, a sparkling frothy river pouring down into a still blue lake, and fields upon fields of lilacs. The sun is still shining strongly, too, and the sky is cloudless. You feel slightly guilty for thinking this way, but you're glad that the girl went missing. If she hadn't, you might never have visited this beautiful place. You should probably head towards the valley's first city, Greenleaf. Looking around, it appears to be towards the east. The nearby sign should also offer directions to it. Welcome to Twilight Valley. Greenleaf East, Sherrington Northeast. There's a lot of flowers and such here. You step onto the stone bridge, hovering only inches above the fast-moving river beneath you. Turning to the west, you stand and gaze at the waterfall before you. Gallons upon gallons of water must be pouring down at breakneck speed every second. Even from here you can hear the crashing water on the river below. It's truly awe-inspiring. You meet some soldiers on the road. They march over to you and chat idly for a while. Eventually they make to leave, but not before warning you against traveling in the valley at night. You thank them and move on. You approach the town of Greenleaf for the very first time. Despite it being a small town by imperial standards, it is protected by a thick wooden palisade and even has a small barracks. The thing you notice most of all, though, is how gorgeous everything is. It's unusual for the Empire to put aesthetics before practicality, and yet Greenleaf is equally as beautiful as its surroundings. Welcome to Greenleaf. The amount of beauty here. Call me crazy, but I have a hunch what we may be encountering here, although it might not be. I may just be overthinking it. Greenleaf South, Sherrington West. This probably leaves the valley. This pass leads out of Twilight Valley. Far away in the distance you can make out the province's capital, and beyond that the glittering ocean. It would only be a few days' walk there. That is, if you want to go. You haven't discovered the whereabouts of the mayor's daughter yet, or why she disappeared. No, I want to stay. You stand at the edge of a deep gorge which completely cuts off all access to the small area of land to the north. From this vantage point, you see no way over there at all. Which is odd, because you can just about make out a series of stones on the other side. There's definitely something over there. Yeah, don't travel at night. Alright. We'll ignore that town and head right to where we're supposed to go. Town of Greenleaf. You enter the town of Greenleaf for the very first time. It has been built in the center of a forest with strong stone buildings standing between tall birch trees. At the moment the sun is shining down strongly and the sky is nearly cloudless. The town looks busy. People are running to and fro on errands, visiting friends, and so on. You look around for the mayor's office, which is where you are supposed to find out the details of your mission, and notice that Greenleaf, along with every other square inch of the valley, is covered in flowers. You smile and move on. Maybe if you wrap up your mission fairly quickly, you can spend a few days enjoying this place properly. Alright, if I want to explore around the outside, I'll need to be up on the walls, or just near the walls. Yeah, this works. Is that an ogre? Doing what I do all the time. Okay. This soldier is patrolling the town, looking out for any sign of trouble, be it monster-related or otherwise. He looks spry and refreshed. He pauses to chat with you for a while, but you don't learn anything interesting. You move on. This young lady is wandering around town. You approach her, introduce yourself, and spend a few minutes chatting. You learn that she is just visiting Greenleaf, and so knows nothing about the disappearances, save what she's heard. It's clear, though, that she doesn't want to speak to a stranger, and considering recent events, you understand perfectly. You bid her farewell. As you approach this building, the door flies open and someone walks in. What the... As she closes the door, somebody inside shouts out, "And Roxy! Thank you!" She closes the door gently, turns around, and begins moving down the path. The young lady realizes you are watching her, smiles awkwardly, and then strides off to the north and out of town. I wonder who she was. That was an interesting design. This lady is feverishly walking around town, shouting out "Stephen" at regular intervals. When she sees you, she runs up to you and begins speaking, very, very quickly. "I'm Emily. Oh, help me, please. My friend has gone missing and nobody cares. Nobody will do anything, but you will, won't you?" Calm down for a second. Calm down? Why? Stephen is missing and I have to find him. You doubt you'll get anything else from the poor woman. Who have you lost? not lost, he's gone! Stephen, my friend, gone and nobody knows where, but you're looking for Lorena, right? You can help me. Find him for me, please? You agree to help, and Emily grabs you about the waist and hugs you. Thank you, let me describe him for you. Emily describes Stephen. If you see him, you will now be able to identify him. Okay then. Mare Stone. We'll go in there last. Smithy. This odd-shaped building is Greenleaf Smithy. As you enter, you involuntarily take a step back. The place stinks of burning metal and dried sweat. There's a huge slab of man muscle working at the forge here in Greenleaf, and as you enter the smithy, he turns to greet you. Stripped to the waist and dripping sweat, he casually swings a hammer from his left hand to his right and begins grinning. I'm Kurt, the town smith. Need something fixing, or maybe you want to buy something? Whatever, I got it all. Let's see what you have for sale. Kurt has collected and made a wide variety of stuff. Okay. Nothing I need to buy, I don't think. So how'd you get into this business? Kurt shrugs his shoulders. You know, I can't actually remember a time when I wasn't doing this, so, you know, I must have always done it since I was born. He pauses, considers the logic of this, and grins. Apparently that seemed to make sense to him, and thus is all the information you're going to get. Is there much call for a smith around here? Kurt nods. Oh yeah, there's always something to do. People need knives and pots and pans to cook with, and equipment to farm with. And of course, we get a lot of visitors, so I sell a lot of blades and armor for people traveling to other, less settled areas. Know anything about what's been happening in town lately? Oh, you mean the disappearances? No, don't know a lot. Don't know who's behind them or anything. All I know is that the mayor is going mad, and people are wanting more blades in case anything bad comes for them. Business is booming. Ladder leads upstairs. Cloak. And leather armor and a shirt. Sure, grab the leather armor. Yoink! There, you have a new robe. Enjoy it! Ooh, a cat. This cat is like every other cat you've ever met, incapable of intelligent conversation. He or she runs up to you and begins purring before bounding off after a butterfly a few meters away. Rose's Miscellany. As you enter this little shop, you hear a tiny bell chime from above you. The shopkeeper looks up from a book she was reading before you arrived and smiles wearily before placing her book to one side. You look over these shelves and find nothing that seems either interesting or useful. You move on. As you draw nearer to this lady, you spot that she has large dark patches under her eyes and creases across her forehead. No doubt they were caused by worry over the recent events in town. She was also reading when you entered, but she quickly places the book to one side as you approach. Wearily looking up at you, she introduces herself tersely. Hi, I'm Rose. Can I help you with anything? What is it you do? Rose looks about before she answers. I'm just a merchant, nothing important. I can sell you something or buy things from you if you'd like. If you need things identified, though, I can't help you. We have some things we'd like to sell. No, we don't. What do you have for sale? Get lockpicks. Need those. Are you alright? Rose frowns a little. No, not really. I really shouldn't be talking to you either. Nobody knows who or what is responsible for all the kidnappings, and forgive me for saying this, but you wandering around with swords isn't helping to reassure people. What do you know about the kidnappings? Rose shrugs. Same as everybody else. First, a few people from Sherrington disappeared. Tovas left just after that, and then, of course, Lorena was taken a few days later. Since then, there haven't been any more disappearances, but that could change any day. Yeah, it could change. Like with this Stephen person. A nice little lake. The Black Fang Arms. You enter the Black Fang Arms. It's a lot quieter than most pubs you've visited, but given the situation in town, that's understandable. The barman catches your eye as you look around and smiles at you before waving you across to the bar. Okay, soldier, townsman. This man is scribbling away on a piece of paper when you approach, muttering away to himself about saturation point and multiplier effects. When you try to speak to him, he waves you off with his left hand. Go away, I'm working! You respect his wishes and leave. Okay. Soldier. This tired-looking lady is deep in conversation with an equally tired-looking man across the table. When she notices you, they both pause and turn to you. The man begins speaking. This is a private conversation. No offense, but armed strangers aren't exactly my favorite people at the best of times. Mind leaving us alone? The lady nods in agreement. Yes, just go. There's nothing we can help with. This lady looks exhausted, like she hasn't slept for days. Considering the fear of being taken everybody in town has, is quite possible. She lifts her head as you approach, and you spend a little while chatting. She's visiting from Sherrington, thinking that Greenleaf would be safer than her home. After a while, you realize she has no information that might be useful, so you leave her be. This man looks far too young to be in charge of this inn. He's barely into his mid-20s. He smiles as you approach and wipes down the bar with a cloth. Welcome to the Black Fang Arms. I'm Preston. Can I interest you in a drink, some food, or just some pleasant conversation? You notice he says everything in an accent, although you can't quite place it. Name your poison. The Black Fang Arms? That's an unusual name. Preston smiles. Oh, it's not my idea of a good name, but, well, it sort of stuck when I took over the place from the last owner. Apparently, the place comes from a large magical forest not far to the north, Black Fang Woods. He pauses for a moment before continuing. Legend goes that in ancient times the forest was near a small village where some heroes came from. Or something, I don't know. Do you have any spare rooms? Preston shakes his head. No, sorry friends, I'm all booked up. I can't help you. Oh, but you didn't hear from me, right? But I heard there's an empty house to the west. I'm sure you could keep there for a bit, almost without any trouble. I assume you mean to the east. What food do you have? Various food. Do you know anything about what's been happening in town lately? Well, of course, who doesn't know? It's kind of a sore spot. We've all been shaken up pretty bad by it. I'll try and answer any questions you have, though. Who knows, you might find it useful. What do you know about the victims? There have been 3 we know of. Cassandra, Stephen, and Lorena. They were taken in that order. Cassandra and Stephen weren't from Greenleaf, so I don't know much about them. And Lorena? Well, she never really came in here. Spent most of her time with Kathleen. She'd be able to help you more. When did this start happening? The last few weeks, really, but... He pauses, unsure whether or not to continue. But, well, there's been stories of people going missing around for years now. Not just in the valley, but in the neighboring areas, too. Till recently, though, we just thought that they were stories. He shakes his head sadly. Is there anybody else we can talk to? Oh, sure. Both Mayor Stone and Eric will be able to help you. They're in the northern part of town. Kathleen knew Lorena pretty well, so she's a good bet, too. Alright. Oh wait, one more thing. Heard any good rumors? Nope, sorry. Not about anything worth sharing with strangers, anyway. Alright, let's take a look up here. These are all the inn's rooms. Nothing in any of them. Okay. Yeah, back down. Okay, what do we got here? Barracks? You enter Greenleaf's barracks. It is this small room that the dozen or so soldiers in the valley operate from. Looking around, you're surprised by how tidy everything is. The commanding officer must run a very tight ship, which is comforting considering the recent events in town. The soldier is fast asleep. She must be one of the soldiers posted here in Greenleaf, working hard to make sure that nobody else goes missing. Unfortunately, she's in no state to talk to you right now. You leave her be. Captain's office. You enter this small room and look about. Several bookcases line the northern wall, crammed with all manner of paper. A desk is in the far corner, with piles of paperwork stacked upon it. And over by the window, the commanding officer for the troops stationed here is gazing out of the window. She turns around as you approach and smiles. Come on in, you must be Stone's adventurers. Come and talk to me, I may be able to help you. These shelves are crammed to bursting. Scraps of yellowing paper are tucked inside stacks of scrolls, which themselves are poking out of thick, dusty, leather-bound books. Not wanting to upset the very questionable filing system, and conscious that the slightest knock might bring the whole thing down upon you, you leave them be. The captain turns to you as you approach, and you get a chance to look at her properly. She has long, dark hair gathered up in a simple bun at the back of her head. Her eyes are a deep emerald, and she is smiling ever so slightly at you. Well met, adventurers. I'm Captain Sterling. I doubt I'll be able to give you to help you in any way, but feel free to ask me any questions you like, and give me an excuse not to do my paperwork. Are there any jobs you need doing? The captain's smile cracks into a huge grin as she hears this. A job around here? Unless you're literate in Empire bureaucracy, I'm afraid there's nothing that needs doing. And besides, you have a job far more important than one I could give you. Finding our lost friends and making sure that no more ever go missing again. And I genuinely wish you all the best in that. So what do you do around here? Not a lot. I fill in tedious amounts of paperwork, organize the patrols of the Vale, and help Mayor Stone make sure this place is a safe, pleasant place to be. Of course, recently we've had a few problems, and so I've been setting up more patrols and increasing our presence in town. It's so difficult with the few troops we have, though. Do you know anything about the disappearances? Frustratingly little, and there's not a lot I can do about it either. You know, there are one or two people who may know something. Mayor Stone is bound to have something worthwhile to say, and you might want to talk to Kathleen, too. She's always out and about, and so she sees a lot. Just be nice to her if you do talk to her. She's been through a lot. Of course, thank you. Is he upstairs? Ooh, nobody up here. Nobody will see us take anything. Including this very nice armor. That's a board game. Entry potion, yes please. Pants are needed for Draco. And nothing in there. Alright, Fox, if you don't mind, wear the armor and give that to Sheik. More. Bolt the fire scroll. Oh, those are traps. Glow glass can be sold. Give me a second. I'm gonna save just in case this kills us. Alright, let's make sure this trap is out. And it's got a shield ring in there. And in the other one, also kills us. So that was... It's a good thing I saved. Please hold on, I'll be back in a minute. Right, so we're not going to open those two chests. Okay, back down to here. There's a couple houses here. Coins. Oh, and I forgot to have Draco put on the pants. Yes, back down. Said one of the houses is supposed to be empty. Nothing in there of note. Yeah, back down. After entering this house, you look around. Looks like it hasn't been lived in for quite some time. You call out to whoever might be inside, but get no response. Whoever lived here must have fled when the disappearances began happening. Or else was a victim of them. Ooh, cloak. Better cloak. And an iron dagger. That might be useful for someone. Alright, cloak. You get that one. Actually, yeah. Iron dagger 2 to 6. You get this one. There we go. These beds look soft and comfortable. Just the thing to relax on after a hard day's work. Since nobody seems to live here, you could probably bunk down for a while and get some rest. Nah, we don't need to right now. In here. These shelves are crammed to bursting with various books. Glance over them and see titles like Don Quixote, The Yes Man, and Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. Towards the bottom, though, there are several untitled tomes. You pull one out and flick through it. It's full of poetry, written in neat, looped handwriting. Unfortunately, there's nothing to be learned from it. You put it back. Okay, then. Yeah, climb up. Same thing here. I don't know who lived here, but, they were the literate type. Alright. Let's talk to these people. This lady smiles sweetly when you approach and fiddles with one or two of the items on the table in front of her, making sure they look as neat as possible. Then suddenly she coughs heavily. I'm Sal, a merchant. Can I help you with anything? You okay? That cough sounds nasty. Sal begins to speak before breaking into another coughing fit. Yes, thanks. I must be just be under the weather at the moment. Now, can I interest you in some of my wares? Well, we can sell these few things we have. Nothing we need to keep, though. So what's happening in town? Sal's cheery demeanor vanishes almost immediately. Well, of course you must know about Lorena. That is why you are here, isn't it? Lorena? Mayor Stone's daughter? You nod. And of course there have been other disappearances. Mayor Stone is working on them too, although he's getting next to no help from the Empire. Other disappearances? Sal nods her head, causing her dark hair to bounce over her left shoulder. Yes, you didn't know? A few people from Sherrington went missing before Lorena, but it was when she went missing that the mayor actually got his finger out. And some good he's done. No offense. Are you not worried? About being taken? Oh no. The disappearances only happen at night. Whoever is doing it is careful never to be seen. And I am locked away as safe as possible when night falls. In fact, if I'm ever not here, I'll probably still be in bed. But I'll always turn up if you hang around. She looks around. You don't entirely believe she's not frightened, but you decide not to press the issue. This elderly-looking gentleman is sitting, calmly observing the goings-on in town. On the table in front of him are various pieces of writing equipment, although he doesn't once move to use them. After a moment, he spots you watching him and calls over to you.
Can I help you? I'm Liam, fortune teller. Come, come, don't stand about. You're making the place look untidy.
Fortune teller. Liam nods.
Yes, yes, a spark of the divine flows throughout my body, and I can... Fine, I can't see the future, but I do have charms to make you luckier, which you may want to buy, and this time I'm not lying.
Luck charms? With a flourish, Liam produces several charms, all on fine necklaces.
These charms all contain a powerful enchantment. Normally I don't sell them to visitors, but since you saw through my fortune act, would you like to buy one?
Yes, please. Oh, that is expensive. +2 to luck. Yeah, not going to buy it. No thanks.
No problem, I'm not going anywhere, so don't hesitate to come back if you change your mind.
Liam is sitting, still watching the goings-on in town. Okay. What's happening in town?
Well, the kidnappings, of course. Terrible business. I believe that Mayor Stone has got some adventurers in to deal with that, though. And otherwise, Greenleaf is as peaceful as ever. Now, I'm sorry, but if you're not going to buy anything, I must ask you to move along. Time is money, after all.
Now, we still have a few people to talk to. Kathleen. We heard about her. But I have to pause this episode here. It's gone on about as long as I like these things to go on. And yes, the last episode was short, but still, I don't want to go much longer than half an hour if I can avoid it. And this next bit may take another 10 minutes, so I'm going to end this episode here. Next episode, we'll finish looking through the town and start on our mission to find, Liana, was it? It started with an L. It had like 2 or 3 syllables, whatever. We'll find out in the next episode. Till then, I'm Chester44, that is Fox, Sheik, Bonnie, and Draco. This has been a Blades of Avernum Let's Play, and I shall see you all next time.